What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and I had a different video planned for this evening, but as of earlier today, some new details did surface about the Season 3 Verdansk update. Definitely stay tuned. But if I had a nickel for every Treyarch Warzone map that got scrapped in favor of Verdansk, I think I'd have 2 nickels now. Unfortunately, both the Euro Mountains from Cold War and what was going to be Avalon for Black Ops 6 ended up getting canceled in favor of bringing back Verdansk, which is kind of crazy to think about because I'm curious to see what a Warzone would truly look like under more direction from Treyarch in collaboration with Raven, whereas it's looked like Treyarch really hasn't had any input on Warzone at all over the last couple of years. I know they developed the Area 99 Resurgence map, but I'm really curious to see how they would handle another take on something like Blackout. It could be within Warzone, but imagine a BR map on par with Blackout as far as Easter eggs go, and new side quests, and wonder weapons, and even some cool in-game events that could get added throughout the live seasons. But it does look like with the Season 3 Warzone update, we're just about getting as close as possible to 2020 Warzone. I'll explain why in a second, but the recent quality of life updates that just got added with the mid-season 2 updates really do bring in a number of healthy changes that I do believe Warzone needed. Luckily, a crisis was averted when it comes to the loadout drop overhaul. They were going to change it to where you can only grab your loadout once and not multiple times like we're accustomed to if you were to, let's say, grab it, die, and then spawn back in. Thankfully, that got changed before the update even went live, but looking at all the quality of life that was promised and has now released, it really does put Warzone in such a better place before the return of OG Verdansk. All that's really left now, and the missing key, is a real strong anti-cheat, right? We're talking massive buffs to Ricochet with better server-side protection to ensure that with Season 3 and beyond, we're not looking at a situation where ranked play on PC or with crossplay is just unplayable. Like I've said before, I think the cheating situation is completely unacceptable and really sad to see, but it really does plague ranked play the most. It's not necessarily pubs, matches of plunder, or even games of multiplayer. Do hackers exist in all of those categories? Absolutely, but really where they exist is ranked play in MP and Warzone because of the status, the leaderboards, the rewards. You guys know what I mean. Now, something else I wanted to mention is that it really feels like as of this year, at least with the Black Ops 6 integration, Raven really isn't focused on just Warzone. They might have another project that they're kind of working on alongside Warzone, and I'm gonna guess if they're also doing the campaign again for Black Ops 7, the game coming out in a couple of months from now, then that's probably what it is. If they're not doing campaign for COD 2025, then I'm really curious as to why Warzone has felt like it's taken a back seat this year. Not that I want Warzone ahead of the premium COD as far as support that it gets, but it just feels like there's been so many silly problems with Warzone since Season 1 that probably would have gotten solved a lot faster if Raven was fully, and I mean fully, on board with just working on Warzone. There's got to be something else they're working on, or maybe I'm wrong. But it's always silly to see online, and again, I know some people are ignorant to this, which is fair if they don't do research. I mean, they should, but it's always funny to see when people are tagging Treyarch and tagging other studios in issues related to shadow bans and Ricochet or Warzone, and in reality, Treyarch doesn't work on either of those things. So not to say that mistakes haven't been made at all studios, but I think a lot of people have directed their frustration at the wrong people, and also for the wrong reasons, considering Black Ops 6 at its core, at least in my opinion, has been a pretty popular game to cover. I think multiplayer offers some great content. It's only getting better with time. Yes, there's still problems, I get that, but events could use some work 100%. The rewards have not been on par with what we saw last year. Campaign offers some good gameplay. I mean, the story is not so much my cup of tea, but with zombies, I think that mode's also in a really good spot. So it's really just Warzone that could use some work, and it just got some phenomenal updates a couple of days ago, but as I've said a couple of times, it's unfortunate to see the rep of BO6 as a whole being tarnished because of a mode that Treyarch didn't even work on. Now, a couple of days ago, I made a video talking about a throwback update in Season 3 that just leaked out with the launch of Season 2 Reloaded. Apparently, we're getting not just Black Ops operators brought back from the dead for some type of flashback, but we're even getting Mace and Rose, Modern Warfare operators added either into Black Ops 6, or maybe they're going to carry the skins forward that you already own from MW2 and 3. It's unclear what's happening, but I think it is clear at least that the operators themselves may be brought back because of OG Verdansk and the fact that it's celebrating 5 years of OG Warzone. So as of earlier today, the Ghost of Hope, a reliable insider who's accurately reported on a number of Call of Duty details, did go ahead and say the following. So with the return of Verdansk, it's going to launch with Season 3 of Black Ops 6, so that should be March 20th, not too far from now. It's pretty much the OG March 2020 version of the map, so that's what, Season 2 of Modern Warfare 19. The train station interior will be closed, whereas the interior of the stadium is going to be open, but the roof is going to be closed. That could always change in a future update as well, but I think that's kind of a little sweet spot in between completely OG Verdansk versus a version of it that kind of evolved over time after several seasons of Modern Warfare. He also mentioned the train is going to return, so that's something we already saw in Urzikstan. I'm not real surprised. And lastly, there will be no fast travel subway system. There's been no mention as to whether we're going to see redeploy balloons or anything like that. I actually hope we do get features like that, even though that's kind of a hot take at this point, at least to the Warzone community. I totally understand having more integrity with your rotations and with the circle closing in, and not having these surprise hot drops where people are flying above you because they took a redeploy balloon. To me, the reason why a deploy balloon would make sense is simply because of match pacing. If a map is too big, it would just take far too long to get to a different POI. If you're in a dead zone, it just gets boring. But again, Verdansk also isn't that big. I don't think it's as big as Urzikstan, nor was it ever as big as a map like Caldera or even Al Mazrah, where the redeploy balloons made a lot of sense. So I'd respect the decision if they just kept balloons like that in game modes like Plunder or even Resurgence, Lockdown, something else. Maybe they could just get rid of that for standard and raw BR or even BR ranked play. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by LagoFast. LagoFast is a service that aims to solve lag issues, boost FPS, and even more. If you're looking to avoid SBMM, whether it's for recording gameplay or just a camo grind, then all you need to do is select your device, click on a recommended server, change your location, then start the game. LagoFast also provides server nodes for players from all over the world to reduce their ping and have the highest FPS in their country. But boosting your Black Ops 6 performance is as easy as simply clicking on the game in the LagoFast app and selecting boost before booting it up. Now, Twitch drops and meta loadouts are tools available through the interface, and LagoFast is available on both console and PC with support for thousands of games. So if you're ready to enhance your experience, then you can click on the special link down below in this video's description or the pinned comment to save 30% off your order, and thank you to LagoFast for sponsoring tonight's video. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Marketing should technically kick off no later than March 13th for our third season. We typically get a roadmap and a blog post for a new season around 7 days before launch, and what do you know, March 10th, a few days before that, is the official anniversary of OG Warzone. So I'm thinking that on that day, they'll at least acknowledge that Verdansk is coming on March 20th. Maybe we'll get a trailer, maybe we'll get full marketing that day, 10 days prior to the launch of Season 3 when it comes to OG Warzone. Also, don't forget, a couple days ago, Verdansk Resurgence also got rumored, which I know is probably going to cause a bit of controversy when it comes to the squad size options in the playlist rotation. We know Urzikstan did launch with Resurgence options as well, which I believe got vaulted after a couple of months, but there was a rotation between an Urzikstan POI, Rebirth, and Fortune's Keep, which now we just have Rebirth and Area 99. No telling if Fortune's is coming back. I doubt that it will, but Verdansk POI is broken up into Resurgence sections. Could be fun. I mean, look at Superstore Resurgence from last year. That was an absolute blast. This sadly also got vaulted after a couple of weeks. At COD Next, they confirmed Urzikstan Lockdown, which also never came out, nor have we seen a new version of Lockdown for Rebirth or Area 99. Hopefully by the time Season 3 rolls around, there's just a whole ton of content planned for Warzone that we've been waiting several months for. Hopefully it's that update that, again, would bring a lot of people back in. But with the version of Verdansk that we're seemingly about to receive, it really is bringing us back as close as possible to March of 2020. But shall I remind you, March 2020 Call of Duty played hell of a lot different than now, for not just in-game reasons, but look at the real world. I mean, there was a pandemic going on, so many people were home, so many more people were playing Warzone, there were so many extra casuals also likely playing. Gaming was in a much different place at the time, and I think a lot of people do have nostalgia goggles on when it comes to what OG Warzone was like, when at least I can vividly remember, because of content, that Warzone wasn't always in the best place during Warzone 1. I mean, especially with the Cold War integration, broken meta with the DMR, the hacking issue became very apparent by like Season 2, 3 of Cold War. Things got rough, even if the meta was fun between the Kar 98 and and the OTS, I remember that as well. But there was also just one game worth of content available in Warzone at the time, whereas now we have 3, possibly a 4th coming with Black Ops 7 this fall, so there's so much more content to actually utilize and try out with this iteration of Warzone, at least right now. But luckily, according to weapon leaks, we might be seeing classic weapons like the Kilo, the Grau, and even the HDR back in Black Ops 6 Season 3. So at this point, even though the movement is arguably more balanced and much more fluid than it ever was, I know gunfights may have been snappier back then, I know audio was definitely a big improvement back then, but looking at what we have now with Black Ops 6 Warzone, movement I think is pretty smooth. We're going to have just about all the fan favorite Modern Warfare weapons people were asking for, and on top of that, all the quality of life updates that Warzone has benefited from over the last 3-4 years. All of that is essentially going to be live March 20th in sync with one another. So at that point, if somebody isn't enjoying Verdansk, it's not because of the game, it's for a number of other reasons. Now, I'm predicting after the honeymoon phase for Verdansk, people are going to realize, hey, you know what, SPMM's kind of kicking in, lobbies are getting harder, there's more sweats, the Shadowman complaints will pop up again because that hasn't been addressed at all by the studio, and the meta could also get frustrating every now and again. So I don't think Verdansk is meant to be this big savior of Warzone, but instead we'll push it in the right direction where everything people are asking for will essentially be live at a single moment in time. Then build off of that from there and go off to make new quality of life updates and more LTMs and hopefully a fresh new BR map by the end of Black Ops 6's cycle. That's what I want to end this video with. How long does Verdansk stay live inside of Black Ops 6? We know with the OG Fortnite update, that map has stayed in-game permanently with updates that it's also received every so often, every season. So I wonder if Verdansk will always be there in the background available to play, whereas new BR maps could also release and sit alongside Verdansk. With Black Ops 7 being rumored to have the Avalon BR map finally added in, I would wonder, right, is that a moment where they vault Verdansk again, or are they in a place where they almost can't because of community backlash? I'll say this once more, I think it would have been perfect, especially for the Black Ops 6 integration, considering the ricochet problems, if Season 1 launched with Avalon to really make Warzone feel new. The cheating controversy wouldn't have gotten bad until ranked play came out for BR with Reloaded, we know that one. I think if you would have had Area 99 in Season 2, boom, that's fresh content, and then Season 3 bring Verdansk back and have both BR maps on rotation, with Urzikstan having been vaulted permanently at that point, that I think would have been received so much better than what we got now, and hopefully we see that in the future, because I don't really believe that it feels like a quote-unquote new Warzone every fall if a new BR map isn't available. Resurgence just doesn't do it for a number of people, especially the ranked players that only play Battle Royale. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the return of Verdansk in Season 3? How are you feeling about the brand new details that just surfaced earlier today? Leave all your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.